happy you're here. Thank you so much for your patience. Technology issues are difficult, but kind of this sort of is like a helpful theme because what are you going to do? We
Sorry,
have
I'll plug
over
in too.
coming to the webinar. Lily, I'm going to go ahead and mute you. We have over 150 of you guys at this webinar and we committed to you and we're like, okay, this system isn't working. How can we pivot? What can we still do to make sure we give the value we promised the people? And the last thing I like is to not make people happy, right? So I'm like, okay, what are our options? So instead of just being like, F it, I'm going to go have a cocktail, which is kind of how I felt.
Oh, yeah.
Can you
Okay.
mute yourself, please? Thank you. So instead of making sure that like, the cocktail that I wanted to do, I was like, what is our solution? And so the other option was go into my personal Zoom group, which we're doing now. Or we were just going to record it and send it out to you guys. Wouldn't be quite as fun because we want to actually hang with you and chat with you, but the options we have, right? So first off, let's just say hi. How are we?
Hello, everybody.
You guys in the chat can say who you are and where you're tuning in from. We would love it. We love to see the areas you serve. You never know who's watching. You never know who you're going to inspire, and you never know where your next referral is coming from. So we've got Mary Beth in Denver, Colorado. We've got Jill in Minnesota. Let's see what else we've got coming in.
Over there.
Central Valley, we got Illinois. Sarah's in Napa. We've got Lucy
Spain, Keller Williams, Spain, KW.
Definitely gets farthest travel. Minnesota, Chicago. Minnesota's cold right now. Sacramento, Phoenix, awesome. All right. Well, we're so happy to have all of you here. This is a really important topic for Michele and I. Master your mindset in real estate. This career is such a roller coaster. You have like the highest highs and the lowest lows, and it's usually within a matter of like 5 minutes. And so we thought this would be a really important topic to start out the year. Michele, why is this an important topic to you as a team leader and a coach?
As a team leader, whenever we step in the room, we want to make sure everybody knows it's a good day. It's going to be the great day, and we're going to be the best version of us that we can be.
Yep, absolutely. All right.
So attitude is the choice, right? So yeah.
100%.
I can't do anything on my end, so just so you know. Okay, there you go.
No worries. It's slow. We'll just roll with it. We're gonna do the best we can. We all are good. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, so just to share with you a little bit about who I am. My name is Rachel Adams Lee. For those of you who don't know me, I've been in real estate for 12 years, started my business old school, door knocking 200 doors a week, doing 3 open houses a week, didn't sell any homes for the first 4 months, questioned all of my life choices, cried a lot, but stuck with my lead generation, stuck with my activities, and was able to sell 39 homes my first year, then 109 the second, then 123 the third. It's been a wild roller coaster, let me tell you. But from that, I've been able to really create the life of my dreams through real estate. I've got 3 boys, Henry, Harrison, and Hayden. I am a real estate and social media coach, and I love what I get to do. Michele, why don't you tell them a little bit about yourself?
Yes. I am Michele Zaragoza. I've been married for 27 years. I'm a mother of 2. I have both kids in the master's program, one at Stan State and one is in LA. So please pray for her right now. 15 years as a team leader, multi black belt winner as well. We just got the final numbers not even 2 hours ago, so it's pretty exciting for us. Love my team. And I top 50 for KWRI team leader. So I'm really excited about that award this year. And I love going to San Francisco with my man for 27 years.
That's awesome. I know Michele and I always send each other, and we do, whenever we're in the city, we're like, what are you shopping for? And what are you drinking?
Yeah.
Basically.
Show me pictures.
The gist. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, Michele, you want to take this one?
Yes. Things turn out best for the people who make the best out of the way things turn out. So look at this morning. This is perfect. Perfect. It's working out. We had a choice of really freaking out and just saying, screw it. Or we can actually do a Zoom like we're doing now. So we had a choice to be positive and just take it on and move forward. And I absolutely love this.
Yeah, I think there are going to be so many times in this industry where you're going to question if you should stay in this. Like, how many times do you go in those Facebook groups and you see someone saying like, I feel like I have to get another job. Like my business just isn't doing what I expected it to do.
And I would say call us, right? Call somebody.
Yeah. I think you can choose to have this career be an amazing career and push through, or you can choose that it's not going to work for you. And usually when people quit is when things are down. They quit because it's down and it's hard, but pushing through and getting back up and getting back into the good space. No one quits when things are good.
I
But
always say you have to be able to ride the wave, right? You
mhm,
have to be able to go into it and come out of it. And it's positive thoughts. Positive thoughts will also lead to confidence to be able to push
mhm.
you forward.
Yeah, I remember very, very early on in my career needing to get to a showing, and I was so behind financially. I had all my credit cards maxed. I had no money in my bank account. We actually were looking up how to siphon gas from a motorcycle, my ex-husband's motorcycle, to my car to get me
Wow.
to a showing. Like, and I remember just crying, literally being on the ground, crying on my garage floor. And I was like, what am I doing? My dad told me to save up 6 months before I got into real estate. I didn't do that. Like I've been doing this for, and now mind you, I was doing so much lead generation for 4 months and didn't close any deals. So that feels real crappy when you're working so hard and you're not seeing the results.
Right.
But I kept going. I kept pushing and I could have stopped, right? I could have stopped, but I was like, what is the best version of me? And that's a question that I was asked early on in my career that stuck with me. And I want you to write this down if you're taking notes. What would the best version of me do? What would the best version of me do? If you are having a tough day in real estate, what would the best version of you do? You'd probably pick up the phone and you'd start calling your database. You'd find a flyer that you would door knock with. You would be intentional about your social media use instead of mindlessly scrolling. So when things get tough, I want you to ask your question, what would the best version of me do?
And make sure you have that written down so you see it every single day. You have
Yes.
to see it every single day. The power of attitude. Attitude is a choice. It determines our actions and our outcomes. So it's not something we're born with, okay? It's a skill. It is a true skill that you learn every single day. And you want to surround yourself with people with the positive attitude, all right? So you want to focus on what you can control and then focus on being around people who has the same attitude.
Yeah, and it's not something where you just like, okay, I've got to have a good attitude today. I've got it for the rest of the week. It's like every single day you wake up and you have a choice of how you're going to behave, what that day is going to look like. And I think for me, like a powerful attitude, a positive attitude, it starts in the morning. Like, what am I thinking about? And even before that, it starts with what you put it in right in your bed before your head before you go to bed. Like
I was
I
going
can't
to
watch
say,
like I
it's
can't watch an
hard to
intense
do that. I'm
show at
sorry,
night.
Rach. We're going to just keep doing this, right? It's a conversation. Because I know you and I, sometimes you're the last person who I speak to at night, right? So it's
Yeah.
like we are so energized and we're always talking about positive things and what we're going to do tomorrow morning. So it's like, okay, I'm going to get up and just go do it. That's it.
And I think like you can't watch a show that's super intense and super negative and like murder and all the things and then go to bed and be like, okay, I'm going to get a restful night's sleep. You have to have some kind of a pattern interrupt before any kind of like frenetic, yucky energy to then let you breathe. And so what we want to encourage you for is like at night, do something to set yourself to give yourself breathe room, whether it's stretching or journaling and getting out your thoughts, but something at night to set yourself up for success. Then you go to sleep, and in the morning, what's the first thing you put in your head? Well, most people, they grab their phone and they start scrolling on social and they start seeing everything that everyone else is doing in the house that was just sold and the workout someone just completed. And then you start to feel bad about yourself first thing. Does this resonate with anyone? And you just already are like, oh my gosh, I'm behind for the day. You have to set some healthy boundaries around your morning so that you can set your mindset right. Now, we're going to ask you in the chat right now, what is the one thing? I have a trigger, one trigger. So I have one trigger that I do where if I do it in the morning, the rest of my day is better. Michelle, I know what yours is because it's the same as mine. What's the number one thing you can do for yourself in the morning to set yourself up for success for the day?
I always think yes, pray. That's beautiful. I love that. Yes, pray. Put God in. That's beautiful. Okay, definitely have water. I have water on the side of my bed. Every single morning I drink a little water bottle. Yes. And attitude, right? And gratitude. How nice. Yes. Yes.
So
I
for
always
me,
think about if I don't do well, mine is working out. I am part of that
that's what I was waiting for you to say this whole time.
I'm sorry. I am part of the 5 a.m. club. I am. And it's nice because I surround myself with people who are the same way. If I don't show up, I get a text like, where the heck are you, Michelle? Or they do a funny video and they send it to me. And the thing is, I always think about how I'm going to feel afterwards, right?
Mhm.
If I don't go, that just destroys my whole day.
Yep.
So I make
Yeah, for
sure I
me,
go.
I'm like, I in the morning when I wake up, I don't let myself get on social media to scroll. What I'm doing is I make you guys know that I build my business through social. That's a big piece of my world, right? Now
Right.
I prep my content the night before. So when I wake up in the morning and I'm ready for social, I make my post, but I'm not then looking around and seeing what's going on, right? To proactively prepare the algorithm to see my post, I comment intentionally on 5 people's posts, right? Part of my rule of 555. You guys who know me know the rule. To wake up the algorithm, I make my post and then I'm done. I don't go back on and scroll. What I do is I get ready for my morning. Now, for me, positive attitude means I want to hug my babies. I want to do the things that brings me joy and love. So I hug my kids in the morning, and then I go to the gym. 3 days a week, I go to the gym. 3 days a
Yeah.
week, I do something that gives me that. So we have you guys saying what, writing down what you're grateful for, prayer. If you don't have something that you do in the morning to give yourself a positive intention for the day, I want to give you the choice to write that down now or come up with some ideas that's going to give you a positive attitude. And then the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to have check-ins throughout the day. And so Michelle and I were talking about it earlier. So Michelle, what happens if you're having a great day in real estate and all of a sudden the house doesn't appraise and your mindset just shifts? What do you do?
So as a coach and as a team leader, I do get these phone calls, right? And I basically say, okay, give yourself 15 minutes to have whatever feelings that you're having and get over it, because guess what? There's another buyer out there and there's another seller out there. Get on the phones or get onto the lead generating model or system that you are doing. But don't allow yourself to sink deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. It doesn't help anybody. You got to, yes, you got to pivot. You have to pivot out of it. And you have to know that there's more there. I mean, that ocean is so big, right? Go get another lead. Just go get it. It's in your database. It's the power of the database.
Ryan always says something, my husband, he always says, you can have a bad moment, but it doesn't have to be a bad day.
Nope.
Like what happened this morning, you guys, with this webinar is stressful AF. I did not love it. I was not happy. I'm paying all that money for that new service and it just let me down. Now you can bet I'm going to send them an email after we hang up and let them know what happened. But besides that, it's not going to ruin my day because we're still able to pivot, make a good choice, figure out a way to find a win and move forward.
And that's a
I
good
think,
choice right there, Rachel, is finding a win in the day
yeah.
because it motivates you, and focus on that, right? Because it's all a choice.
It is. And I think, especially in this industry, like I have right now, I have an issue where I have a house that they wanted to offer on my property and they needed $15,000 in closing costs. And I said, is there any way you can do less? They're like, no, we need the 15. I said, great. You're going to have to come 15,000 over escrow, over the asking price to account for that. And if it doesn't appraise, we're going to have a conversation. Now I have the comparables to support my pricing, even 15,000 over, even 30,000 over. And so does the buyer's agent. But guess what? That house just appraised 14,000 under, which means we have $1,000 over the asking price. Now, some agents would be like, let's just cancel the deal and we'll start over. What I'm a solution-based person. So what I said to him is, so I always go, okay, shitty situation. Sorry, I'm cussing, but shitty situation. Deep breath. What's the solution? Okay.
Yeah.
I could be like, oh my gosh, this sucks. It's the worst industry ever. I can't believe appraisals are coming in low, but that
Got to
energy is
focus
not
on
going
the
to do
outcome.
anything good for anybody. So instead, what I do is I say, what's my solution here? So we're going to try to affect the appraisal, which we all know doesn't really work, but it makes the client feel validated. And we're going to try and hope this appraiser realizes he was an idiot. And then if it doesn't work, we're going to talk about lowering our price some, and they have to be able to figure out some money to lower the credit some and find the win-win. And then we will look for every possible solution. And then if it doesn't work, we'll cancel the deal. But at least I put my best effort out there and I had a good attitude, because this industry, your clients are going to be all over the freaking map. It's not their job to stay calm, cool, and collected. It's our job to stay calm, cool, and collected. And that's the power of the attitude that you have to choose.
And it's the power of the win-win. That is
Yep.
important. You have to really focus on that win-win. I love this one, Rachel. The
Go for
happiest
it.
people don't necessarily have the best of everything. They just make the best of everything. I love that. That is so like in my core. So speaking with my mom, we all know, or most of you guys know, my mother is 84 and her life has shifted a lot. And so whenever she's chatting with me, I immediately switch it into a positive tone, and then she switches it into a positive tone. So
That's
she's
amazing.
It's not negative, right? So whenever you are surrounding yourself with negative people, you could set the bar. You could push that whole conversation into a positive tone. If you're strong enough, you just have to have the desire to do it.
I think it's like I have been on a mission to get negative people out of my life.
Heck
It's
yeah.
very difficult when they're family. I love her so much, and this is not she's not on this, so I can chat about it lightly with you guys. But my mom is one of my best friends, and I really struggle because they lost their house in the Valley fires in 2015, and it changed something in her. A light went out in her, and she just got kind of dark, and she's pretty negative a lot of the time. And if you guys know me and Rye, you know that's the opposite of everything we stand for. We want positive energy around our kids, around our home. And it's really, really difficult because that is not who she is right now. And so I have to set really difficult boundaries with her of like when she's in a mode where she's not bringing good energy, I'm like, Mom, you can't be around the kids right now. I'm really
Yeah.
sorry. I love you and I can't have you around right now. Or like, if she's going to bring the energy to me, I remove myself. And it's so hard because she's my mom and I love her so much. That's part of the reason why I moved her closer was to be able to give her a fresh start. She's 6 doors down from me right now, which is too close for my husband's preference, but that's where we're at in
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
But
Oh
also,
my
like, my
God.
dad has Parkinson's and his life is changing drastically, and I'm going to be learning all the things about it. But I'm like, wait a second. Instead of being like, oh my God, my dad has Parkinson's, how long is he going to live? How is this going to change things? I'm like, thank God I have more time with my dad while I have him. So
Yeah.
it's all
How can
about
we
how you
make his
look at
life
it.
better right now? How do we make your world better right now? Yeah, I think that's awesome. You know what, Rachel, this made me start thinking about my mom. My mom used to, bless her heart, love my mom too, right? She would call me early on Saturday while I'm driving into an appointment negative. And so we had an
Mhm.
agreement. She was not allowed to call me on Saturdays or Sundays because it would just mess with my whole day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes you have to put those boundaries, and it's okay because they're going to understand. They truly,
Yeah.
truly are because they love you.
So when you think about your life, and I'm sure it's like the first person in your mind you're going to think of, who is the most negative person in your life that you have in your life? And do you have boundaries around them? This is
Yeah.
a safe space. If you want to write it down, you can. No one's going to tell. Um, but it's like I've had to stop friendships. I've ended relationships. Like I can't have negative behavior around me anymore. And especially as I became a mom, I realized how limited my time is. And if I have free time, my husband and I have a rule. We only want to hang out with people where when we leave them, we feel better. We do this thing in our home where whenever we're doing like a work event or we have like, you know, that saying like you have to be on. I'm like, oh, I'm working. I have to be on. My favorite thing in life is when I hang around people and I don't have to be on. I can be authentically myself. But when you're
Me.
working, when you're working, you have to be on. Like whenever someone leaves our house and we had to work at the event or we feel like we had to put effort in, where they leave and we go, we did it. So now you guys are going to ask yourself when you leave my house, did she say I did it? Right. But I think about that. Like I choose to be happy.
Yeah.
So Ryan has this saying, and he said it in actually like when we first met on Tinder, he said to me, happiness is a choice. And I choose to be happy. Happiness is a choice. So you get to choose what this looks like. Comparing yourself to someone else and being like, gosh, their house is bigger, they must be happier. They're always smiling in their pictures, they have a better marriage. Like you have no idea what's actually happening in someone's life. They're choosing what you see.
You know what's interesting? That was my word probably for the first 4 years at KW. I wanted people, when I walked into the room, I wanted everyone to feel my energy. So I
Mhm.
walked in happy, period. And I still feel like when I walk in, people know it's a happy day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
You
love
got
that.
to. We just talked about it at my team meeting yesterday, but it's like leave your drama at the door.
Yeah.
Leave your negativity at the door. And it doesn't mean that you don't, what's going through in your life is not valid and very important. But we just had an agent on our team that's going through some health challenges. And he actually was brave enough to show us what's actually underneath his shirt right now and what was just happened to his body. And he was like, no one sees what's happening behind closed doors, but he chooses to show up for his clients, show up for his family. And it's like, we never know what someone's going through. So I also think it's important when someone is acting really poorly to be like, I was told this actually from my marriage counselor in my first marriage. She said, everybody's doing the best with the tools they have.
Right.
So just to remember that just because someone's negative, it doesn't make them a bad person, but it doesn't also have to make them your person.
Right.
All right, Michelle, let's talk about control and choice.
Okay, we've already kind of touched on it a little bit, right? When you wake up, you have the choice. You have the choice of being negative or positive. You have a choice of what activities you're going to do, because whatever you're going to do is going to be the outcome or the result, right, of
Mhm.
whatever activity is. So what do you choose to do? Yes, people have baggage. People have negative things going on in the world. And what you focus on is what you can control, right? So what's that bold law? Focus on what you focus on expands, right? So just
Yeah.
make sure you are making those right choices and make sure you are choosing to surround yourself with the right people. Right people as in people who are going to lift you up, people who you want to um, aspire to be, right? And make sure you are thinking bigger and they are thinking bigger. Yesterday, we had a phenomenal panel with 4 mega agents at our team meeting. And that's a lot of the motivation that they talked about is making sure you're surrounding yourself with the right people. You have a choice and you have a choice to say, not today or move forward.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I
Thank you,
think like
Edgar.
being super clear on who you surround yourself with is really important. So we have two gals on our team, Lily and Merity, and they hold each other accountable. They wake up in the morning and they both want to be healthy. So they get up and they work out together. They go for their walks and they'll message each other like, "Hey, how are you doing?" And sometimes one of them will try to get out of it. The other one pulls them right back in, is like, "Nope, you're doing the walk with me," right? And then also, like if you want to commit to door knocking or you want to commit to social media, find a buddy that's going to commit with you. Because if you're surrounding yourself with people who are like, the market sucks, there's no inventory, then you're like, yeah, the market sucks, there's no inventory. When I first joined, and it was at Keller Williams, so it's not, not everybody has always the best mindset. But I remember this group of women when I first joined at my market center. I was 26 years old, and they kept saying the market sucks, the market sucks, the market sucks. There's no inventory, there's no listings. And I was like, okay, the market sucks. But then I was like, in my head, I'm like, but what are you going to do about it? Are you not
Yeah,
going
how
to
are you
pay
going
the
to
bills?
get
Are
the
you going
more
to get out of the
listings?
industry? And I was like, okay, the market might be difficult right now, but the sellers are out there. It's up to us to find it. And you know what I did? I stopped hanging out with that group of women because they weren't going to help me achieve my goals. And did I get flack for it? Absolutely. Were they not that nice to me for several years and still? Yep. But you know what? They're not my people. They're not my
That's
people.
okay. It's okay because you
And
think big.
I'm a control person. So like this specific topic's very difficult for me because I like to control everything. And when it's out of my control, I have a really hard time with that. I'm now 40 years old, which sounds insane to me to say because I still feel like I'm like 22 and like I have a boyfriend named Ryan. But like, do you ever like look in the mirror? This is random, but every now and again, I'll like, we have this big mirror in our hallway. I walk by the mirror and I'm like holding one of my kids and I'm like, huh. I'm
That.
a mom now. Like that's so weird because I still feel like I'm like this young kid just like living
Yeah.
my life. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm like a real mom. Like I have
You like
children.
look at it and it's like, who is that? Wait a
I
minute.
know I'm like people count on me. This is weird. But being someone who's used to controlling everything, it's really hard for me to have things that are out of my control. It's helpful to have a very calm, flowing river husband who's like, sweetheart, can we do anything about it? Is this in your control? And I learned this saying that I really appreciate, and it's bless and release. Bless and release. The people that are negative in your life, the situations that you don't have control over, but that are frustrating, you just like, I'm big on prayer. So, like, I will often, if I'm having a hard time with something, I will stop, I will pray about it, and then I have to release it. I give it to God and I'm like, you know what? This isn't in my control anyway. And whatever's supposed to happen will happen. Have you ever
Yeah.
had that situation where you're like something happens and there's an email that's sent out and you're like, oh my gosh, and you go all hands on deck and you freak out and you do all the things and then you get the solution. But have you also had it happen where there's an email and you're not able to get to the email because you're in an appointment or you're doing something else, and all of a sudden you get to it at the end of the day and
Yeah.
it solved itself?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh man, what if we just realize that things sometimes can take care of themselves without us absolutely freaking out? Like, I'm a worst case scenario thinker. So, like, I'm immediate, like, what if this happens? Oh my gosh, what if this happens? Like, because at one point there was like a shooting at a concert in Vegas. Whenever I go to a concert, I'm like, I really hope this isn't it. That thought never enters my husband's mind. Never. But like that is just how I think. I think worst case scenario, and I don't know how to get through it, but I just know that I pray about it and I don't want to stop living my life.
But you
Does
have a
that
choice
resonate with
and you just,
anybody?
I think it's great that you found a solution to overcome it. right?
Yes,
And that's the choice. I'll let
go
you
for
take
it.
this one.
Okay. The things that truly make a difference are often within our control, and we have the ability to learn and adapt, right? So you can choose what you do when something is out of your control. And if it is out of your control and you still have to roll with it, then you figure out how to learn and adapt to the situation, to set boundaries, to have conversations, to remove yourself, right? To time block around it. Like that is something that's really, really, really important. Okay.
All right,
So we,
go
you want to do
ahead.
it?
Yeah,
No, go ahead.
so you're going to pick an activity, right? So I want you to list, you can put it, if you're bold enough, put it in the chat. List 3 things that you can control today to improve your mindset. So you are improving your mindset. So you are thinking of the activities that's going to produce the results that you're looking for. But what
So
are the
there's going to be 3
things?
things in your world that are struggling with, but that you have an opportunity to be able to choose to do something about it. So what is the activity you can put around that thing that you need to have like
Control.
an action around? So 3
Anybody
things.
bold enough?
And some people might be like, it's working out in the morning. I know I have control to work out in the morning, but I'm not doing it. Okay, I'm going to set my alarm. I'm going to find a workout buddy. I'm not making my lead generation calls. I'm not doing the dials. Okay, well, I first have to figure out who my database even is. So I'm going to take the time to go through social media, to go through my phone. I was going to say Rolodex. Nobody even has a Rolodex anymore. Like I'm
All these people won't even know what that
aging
is.
myself. I know. I feel like they're like, okay, grandma.
Gotta be
All
me.
right, so our activity for you is to pick 3 things that you today can control to improve your mindset.
Anybody want to chime in and say what they're going to choose?
You can unmute yourself too. You guys don't have to just type it
Yeah,
in.
this
You
would
can
be
say
nice if it was
unmute yourself.
interactive. This is what a lot of people wanted, was more of a conversation.
Yeah, you guys are totally welcome to unmute yourself.
Yeah. Anybody want to list their 3? Do I need to call on a few team leaders that I see?
I'll go.
Awesome. Thank you, Norma. What are the 3?
I think mine, first of all, would be attitude, waking up with a good positive attitude, like you were saying. And then gratitude along with everything else, and then working out. I got to start doing that every day.
Okay. May I hold you accountable to that?
Yes, yes.
Okay. I definitely will. I'm excited, Norma. This is wonderful.
Not at
We
5
have-
a.m. though.
You know what? On that note, I actually do text probably like about 30 to 50 of my agents in the morning to set the tone for them. And so it allows them.
If you ever message me at 5 in the morning, I will never respond back to you. 5 in the morning for me is a sleep time. I will talk to you at 7.
Yeah. So I don't do it at 5 o'clock in the morning. There are a few that do text me at 6, and we'll just see what happens if I text them back. But it does help people to say, okay, wait a minute, I need to shake this off and move forward. So I'm their accountability partner, right? So Norma, welcome to my world, Dollface.
Okay, Sarah, you had unmuted yourself too. Why don't you share with us?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say waking up early. I need to do that. I want to wake up before my kids. Because it's more quiet around here when it's like that. So waking up early, finding an accountability partner because I think I need that. And making my calls because I need to make calls. And I just thought the part thing I put in front of me is that there's all these laws of making calls now. So I'm kind of trying to navigate what that's going to look like.
Yeah, I know. They said in California, January 27th, there's going to be a new law around dialing. So once that comes out, it's going to shift some things for all of us. So we'll have to learn and adapt. But again, like, okay, this is a perfect example. When the compensation thing changed, people lost their freaking mind. They were like, oh my God, what are we going to do? There was 9,000 Zooms about it. You'll notice I never did a Zoom about it because I was like, you know what? There's way too much crap out there. People just, we're going to figure it out. It's just a script. It's just a small pivot. We're going to be fine. And guess what? We're freaking fine. We're fine. Yeah. You want to know the most crazy thing? So I'm primarily a listing agent. I can't tell you how many offers come in and I have to ask the agent, are you planning on getting paid for this? Because you didn't ask for any compensation. It's like so many, have you guys experienced that yet? Like so
I've
many
seen
people
it a lot
just
lately.
like, oh, there's a law? What are you talking about? It's like, so many people even care. Anytime something changes, I'm like, okay, there's gonna be a change. What's our solution?
Exactly.
I'm always like, what's our solution around it?
There was a boutique office, right? That was, chatting, just doing my job, right? And this broker actually said to this other agent, don't worry about it. it's okay. Like it's not really going to happen. So they weren't even focusing on the solution part of it.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
mind blown. Yeah. Yeah.
I know,
Crazy.
I've thought about doing, you guys can tell me if this would be helpful. I've thought about doing a buyer consultation class for you to show you how I do a buyer consultation and then how I bring up the compensation, how I prep it for them, and then like the conversation I say to a seller when I'm doing the listing. Like if that would be helpful for you guys, you can let me know in the comments.
I think
My
you
version
should.
of it, my
Yeah.
non-stressful version of it that's like super low key. Because even like when you're going to go do a showing and you meet a new client, I had an agent that say, hey, how do I even have the conversation that they have to sign a BRBC? Because like that stresses them out to have to sign it. I'm like, oh, that's no big deal at all. And it's like, again, it's like you have to remember the first thing they want to do is see a house. So you're going to set the appointment to show them the house. And then before you show them the house, you're going to say, hey, can we do a quick call to go over a couple things? And when I have that call, that's when I have like this very low key conversation. I'm like, I don't know if you know this, but there's a new law that was passed in the US to protect the consumer, you as a buyer when you're buying a home. And then like I always say, it's about you. It's about protecting you as the consumer. And then they're like, oh, well, great. I want to know what that is. Attitude's a skill. Like any quality, it requires nurturing and practice. So we're not telling you that you're going to have, you got this. Every day, it's a choice to have a good attitude. Every day, it's a choice to decide what you're going to do. And Michele and I are actually pretty good about if one of us is having a rough day, we don't actually have bad days at the same time, which is very convenient. But
Very convenient.
we will message each other, and sometimes she's a little bit harsh on like get through it, get past it.
Yeah.
She gives you 15 minutes. When I learned from Cody Gibson, who teaches Bold, he's like, you get a 5-minute funeral. I'm like, 5 minutes, bro. I need like 30. I cry. I need to hug someone. I
You
need
need to go
like,
on Amazon
out.
and buy stuff. Come on.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh, you
Go
guys,
shopping.
I'm like the most emotional shopper. I'm like happy, I'm in a shop, sad, I'm in a shop, hungry, I'm in a shop. Like I'm a crazy person. Right now, what I'm doing for the month of January, because I'm committed to not shopping, is I make carts and then I abandon them. But it's actually pretty dang thrilling to make that cart and put everything you
Have
want
you
on
ever
it.
done that in Costco? I've like started a cart and I'm like, what the heck
What?
am I doing? And I
No,
walked
because
out.
then you have to put it all back.
No, I just walk out.
Oh, Michele. Okay, well, your Costco's worst nightmare. Good to know. They're like, why is this weird abandoned cart? Oh, Michele was here.
Michele was
Okay, spiraling up versus spiraling down. Michele, you want to talk about this one?
Sure. Choosing positively allows upward growth, while negative leads to decline, right? You guys, I always say focus on your big why. Focus on the spiraling up. And if you need the accountability, if you need the coaching, if you need your best friend, call them up. This way you'll go up and just move forward. Make sure you're focusing on the positive things that are happening at that time. Because if not, it's just not a good choice to spiral down. Don't you agree? I mean, come on.
100%. I think too, like, there, like, there's so many things that are going to happen in your day that could derail
much.
it. There's so many things. And so every time it happens, it's like, okay, how do I choose to respond? I call it bounce back ability. So like that moment I had when I was on the garage floor crying and I was like, oh my gosh, I have no money to get to this showing. I could have been like, screw it. Everyone told me real estate was too hard. I'm going to just
Now I don't want to
call
do it.
But I was like, no, I have a choice right now, and I know that I'm meant to do this career. And so I found a way to go to that showing. Thank God a neighbor saw me crying and was like, what's going on? I was like, I need to get to a showing and have no money. And they loaned me 20 bucks. And I got to the showing, and you know, I probably got them in contract. But imagine working so hard for 4 months and having nothing to show for it. Literally nothing to show for it. No paycheck, a couple people added to my database, so nothing really powerful. And then 39 deals closed that first year. And you're like, thank God I didn't give up, because most people give up when they're crying on that garage floor. They're like,
Can you
I'm just
explain though,
apply.
Rachel? Because I see a lot of people on here who can really resonate with what you're saying. Can you just explain that your activities that you did consistently is going to show up? The result.
Yeah, it's so okay. So Darren Hardy wrote this book. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. It's called Compound Effect. And what he says is that small, good, consistent choices add up. But it's so do small, good, small, bad, consistent choices. So like say that you want to lose 10 pounds, 15 pounds, me, 55 pounds, right? If every day I have a salad for lunch with protein, that's a good choice. That's a good choice that's going to add up. If every day I have chocolate cake, that's a bad small choice that's going to add up. For me, what that first year looked like was script practice 7 days a week, you guys. time blocking for door knocking, time blocking for open houses, doing my lead generation for those open houses to get the people to come. Like I surrounded myself with good people. I started to drink more water instead of more wine. Like I really had to get clarity on it. And someone talked about that they drink water first thing in the morning. The first thing I used to do is grab coffee. The very first thing I would do is I'd wake up and grab coffee. That's a natural dehydrator. Like it dehydrates your body. So your body naturally dehydrates as you sleep. The first thing you have to do is put water in your body. So what I do now, and I've done this for years, I wrote a book about it. But I actually have a glass of water by my bed, and before my 2 feet hit the floor, I want to encourage you guys to do this. It's a small change, but I promise you it can make such a big difference in your feel of your body.
Norma, I want you to start
Before
this.
your 2 feet hit the floor, you drink a glass of water, chug it, chug that sucker. That's it. So you do it before you go to bed, which means you're prepping the night before for success. And again, like there's so many things that can give you a bad day, but if you have a bad moment, give yourself a time to breathe through it, get through it. If it's go for a walk, for me, I always called it my mindset reset. And it stood for 2 things. And for me, it was push-ups and prayer. I did something physical to physically get me out of it, and then something emotional or mental to get me through it. Right? So get me out of it and then get me through it. For me, it was push-ups. I would literally drop to the ground and bust out 10 push-ups. Then I would get on my knees and I would ask God to grant me the grace to move forward. Another one of the agents on my team, he would like run in place for 10 seconds and then he would go, hoorah. And he just had this little reset and he was like, okay, and I'm back. So come up with
You
something
gotta
for
allow
you.
yourself to have it though, right?
Yeah,
And
100%.
it's
Feel
okay.
feelings like you said.
Yeah, it's okay.
Exactly.
All right. I think we should go to the next one.
Well, this is about reflecting first. So what we're telling you, and you don't have to do this now, but when you have a moment that is challenging, something that is affecting your mental attitude, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and visualize responding to that challenge with a positive attitude and think, what is the solution to this situation? What would the best version of me do in this situation? Okay, so these next 2 I'm going to be taking, and then the next 3 Michelle's going to kind of take the lead on. This is one specifically that I really struggle with. So 2 years ago, I went to therapy for releasing people pleasing, and then last year for me it was releasing comparison. They're just 2 things that I personally struggle with, and I think it's okay to be open and transparent about that with you guys because other people go through some of the same stuff. So I want to share with you some stuff that I have written down to be able to release comparison. So for me, it is something that I really struggle with. I had a goal last year to 10x my coaching business. I did not plan on buying and selling a house, which we all know that we do it for our clients all the time, but have you done it as a realtor? Tell me in the comments, have you done it as a realtor, bought and sold your own home? Good Lord. My husband was like, I would never hire you as a realtor. You were way too stressed out. I was like, I'm really sorry about that. I did net you the most money, but still. But like that took a lot. And then finding out my dad had Parkinson's was a huge thing for us. And so there were things that happened in my life that took me away from my goals. And there were people that I followed on social media that were doing way more than I was in the coaching space. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm so behind. What the heck is happening? And I beat myself up. It would ruin my day. But the most thing that it did, you guys, is it killed my creativity. I was no longer able to give to the world, share my gift, the things that I love to do that gives me actual happiness because I was so stunted in my growth because I was focusing on someone else. And so, one of the things that I did is my therapist, she said, I want you to create a wins journal. I want you to journal out all the things in your life that are going super well. She asked me, she said, what is the one thing in your life you don't compare yourself to anyone else? What's the one thing in your life? And I said, my marriage. I think my marriage is a 10. I'm like married to my best friend and we have a great supportive relationship and we give and take and we care about each other. And I just snapped at him. So I will apologize for that again after this is over because I was really stressed out. He's so sweet. He's like trying to help and I'm like snappy. He goes, sweetheart, I'm just trying to help. And I'm like, I know that. So, again, I'll apologize after. That's what keeps us going. But
That's
she
right.
said, what's your one thing? And I said, my marriage. And she said, how many people do you think would trade their left arm to have a healthy relationship that they came home to every day and feel as loved and fulfilled as you do? I'm like, oh my gosh, you're completely right. So I created my wins journal, all the things that make me happy, that fill my heart, that are unique to me. I'm going to be doing this exercise with my team on Monday. I had plans to do a post and wrap up 2024, but life showed up and I wasn't able to. So on Monday on our team call, we're all going to be writing out all the things that happened in 24. Some are going to be positive and some are going to be opportunities for growth. We always say on the Rachel Adams Lee group, we don't have problems, we have opportunities for growth.
Say that in my world too, doll.
And that's a positive way of thinking of it. That right there is a shift, right?
Right.
And so I have some stuff that I really didn't, that I struggled with in 2024, but also like I've always struggled with my weight. My entire life, body image has been a challenge for me. And last year I was able to lose 55 pounds naturally. That is something I've wanted. Food has controlled me. I've struggled with my whole freaking life. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I overcame that. That's a massive win. But when you're focusing on someone else and you're focusing on something that someone else has, it's hard for you to see what's actually happening in your world. So the other thing I did is a social media detox. This specific person that triggers me, I don't see her stuff anymore. I didn't delete her because it would be weird for our relationship because I do know her, but I muted her. So I don't see her content anymore because it wasn't good for me. And I will tell you that there are people in your life that you are scrolling through. If you get that moment, that second where you're like, oh, that feeling in your stomach, guys, you mute them. You don't have to delete them or block them, but you mute them. If you don't know them,
Okay. It is
it's okay.
okay.
It's good for your mental health matters in 2025. Okay. You have permission right now. Your mental health matters the most in 2025. So make it a priority. And the same thing goes for real life. If there's someone in your world and it doesn't go well, guys, take them out of your life, set some boundaries. And then you reframe what success looks like for you. For me, happiness is being with my kids. It's being with my husband. It's getting to pick up my son from school. Like there are things that are success to me. It doesn't have to all be financially driven. How many houses you sold doesn't define who you are as a person. One thing that I really struggle with is defining my self-worth by my career. It's something that I really have struggled with because I'm so wrapped up in what I do that I forget it's not who I actually am. So that's been really helpful for me. Is there anyone who wants to unmute and share some thoughts or ideas or struggles they have with comparison?
I'll speak up.
Anything you want to share with the group? Yeah, go for it, Mary Beth.
Thanks, Rachel. Yeah, just everything that you just said. We're so involved with what, like you said, the social media detox of comparing ourselves to other people, especially us women. I mean, think about us women who compare ourselves, like you, Rachel, with your body issues. I have body issues as well. We're always comparing ourselves, whether it's business, physical, the way we look, what purses we're wearing, what clothes we're wearing. It is just an overabundance of comparison. And I, like you, I've had to mute people. There are some people that pop up on my profiles that either I just don't agree with or I don't like what they're saying. And it's just so freeing to just mute them. And so they don't pop up anymore and you don't have to see them.
Very good.
So that's kind of what I wanted to add.
I love it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay.
All right, let's move on to people pleasing. So this is what I focused on 2 years ago. And
I remember this.
yes. And I had somebody in my organization and there are certain people out there who prey on really kind people and they know who's a people pleaser and they find you and they dig their heels in and they will take and take and take. My husband always says we give and sometimes people find us who just take. And she would say things to my face like, oh my God, you're such a great mom. I love how much you give to others. And then she would say things behind my back like, yeah, she's never available. I just don't even know where her priorities are. And I worked so hard to get this girl to like me, to approve of me, to like just give me the validation that I thought I needed. And then I realized I'm never going to get it. And she actually preys on people like me who are kind, who will give. I found myself thinking about her at nighttime in the shower when I was eating. She was consuming so much of my thought. This girl, this woman.
Terrible.
And so I actually set some really good boundaries around her and realized that like, there are certain people, and especially in real estate, you're going to have clients who have zero freaking boundaries and they will call you at 10 o'clock at night and expect you to answer. And so what I had to do with people like that is to set boundaries of what is appropriate and what is not appropriate. And literally say statements like, I'm so sorry, that doesn't make me feel good. And I'm not going to talk to you right now. And it's okay if you tell someone it doesn't make you feel good, they should feel bad. They shouldn't want to make you feel bad. Now, this specific person, I feel like when I reacted, she was like, got her right where I want her. And so I had to remove her, completely remove her from my world, because I was like, I can't give anything to this person because no matter what I do, it's not good for me. And so every time she asked me for something, I said, I'm so sorry, I'm unavailable to do that for you. I'm so sorry, my schedule's full. I said no to everything. Every single thing she asked for, I just started saying no. Now, I wasn't a bee about it. I practice saying no with grace. I'm so sorry I have another appointment. I'm so sorry I can't come to that. I'm so sorry I'm unavailable to do that training. I'm so sorry I can't do that call with you. And
how did you
eventually
feel?
I felt freaking empowered because I was also like giving her the middle finger in my head because I was like, chick, you no longer, what it was for me, guys, it was taking my power back. I had to take my power back. I had to make her, she was so big in my world. I had to stand up taller. And eventually she went like this and this and this and this. And eventually she went away.
Bye-bye.
Because
Mhm.
I was like, I'm going to take my power back. You no longer can control me. The thing is, if they're not actually paying your bills, if they're not in control of your income, if they're not a part of your family, then screw them. They don't belong as a part of your energy and a part of your heart. And so I set boundaries. I started to say no with grace, and I said daily affirmations about that I'm healthy, I'm positive, and I'm full of what did I say? I'm healthy. What is it?
I'm
Healthy,
healthy.
happy, and full of positive energy. I'm healthy, happy, and full of positive energy. And anybody that didn't make me feel healthy, happy, or full of positive energy no longer belonged in my world.
That's
Any
awesome.
thoughts on this? Anyone have any people pleasing things they've come through or people they need to kick out of their life? All
We're
right,
gonna
Michelle.
keep rolling on this because I know timing right now. We said it was going to be an hour and we started late, but we're just going to keep going.
We'll go
Okay.
for 20 more minutes to get to the hour.
Awesome. And I appreciate that. So you guys, when you talk about your big why, I want you to think about it as it's your mission, it's your purpose, mission, and it's a need. It's what fuels you to be doing the activities to show up. If you have a strong why, everything else will show up. So you need to be very, very clear. It's important for it to be very, very clear. So I'm going to read something to you right here. It's actually page 72 on the MREA. I want you to be thinking what really motivates you. What about that motivates you? And then what else? Be thinking even deeper. If you could only choose one thing, which one of these big whys is the most important? Okay. And if you could choose one from the rest of the list, how would you rank it? Look at the list. You should actually put it down and write it down right now. What is your big why? Why are we getting up? Why are we talking about being positive, right? It needs to start with that and it needs to be big enough. What I really want you to think about is if you achieved everything that you dreamed of, what would that feel like for you? Because you'll be able to actually feed your big why. What would it feel like? You know, the end of 2025, you did hit your numbers or you did hit the volume that you were needed to achieve X, Y, and Z. I don't want to say anything. I want it to come from you. What is your big why? And then after you write down what it feels like in 2020, December 15th, 2025, what did it feel like to achieve the goals to fuel it, right? And then I want you to take a moment and close your eyes and think about if you didn't do it, if you weren't positive, if you were allowing all this negative stuff to contribute to you, what would that feel like? Yuck, right? Has anybody ever, we actually did the big why, I think last year. We did a webinar on it and it was so empowering. I really encourage you to do the activities for your big why because it starts there. It starts there and it also it starts with the desire to achieve more. Anybody want to talk about their big why or even comment on it? Has anybody ever done the exercise like on page 72? We did it last year.
I remember being like, it was like early in my career and I didn't have kids yet. And I remember really struggling with the big why. And I told Michelle this, I said, sometimes I struggle with the wording big why. Like, and have you ever heard like you hear something, you're like, man, that just doesn't resonate with me. That doesn't resonate with me. Like I didn't have kids yet. And I feel like everybody's big why was for their children. And I was like, I don't have kids yet. So I was like, I don't know if my why is valid enough, but it, for me at the time, it was, I don't want to be, I looked at what I didn't want in my life and I was like, I don't want to be broke anymore. I don't want to be paycheck to paycheck. I don't want to feel like I'm not in a healthy relationship. And so I was like, what, doing real estate, selling houses, like obviously helping people with the biggest financial decision in their life is amazing, but what does that do for me? And so I think you really have to dig deep and say like, why am I doing this? Why did I get into this job? You know what I mean? Like what
Why
is,
did I study all those months to get this,
yeah,
the license, right? You guys, you want to show up as being the most unforgettable person ever. You want to raise the bar. You want to be that. Don't surround yourself with people who are not don't surround your, how do I want to say this? Don't allow somebody else's ceiling to be your ceiling. You raise that bar.
so what she's talking about, people are asking what page 72 is. So The Millionaire Real Estate Agent is a book that Gary Keller wrote. He's the founder of Keller Williams. And on page 72, he discusses the big why. Is anyone comfortable sharing what their big why is, like why they do what they do?
I do what I do for my kids. I have 5 of them. And that's,
So are you setting a legacy for them? Is that
I'm trying to just be a good example. I'm a single mom and just try to pay the bills.
Yeah. No, I get it. And that's beautiful. And we would really appreciate you sharing. And so every single day, you probably look at their picture and say, okay, I'm going to get up today and I'm going to kill it. I am going to be the best version of me that I can be.
Yes, I try. I definitely try. My kids are older. I mean, they're 25. I mean, sorry, 23, 20, 18, 13 and 6. So, yeah, I definitely want, especially the girls, I want to set a good example and have them be strong women one day.
I would assume, since you're even just speaking up, your children do look at you, Mom, and say, wow, look at her go. That's amazing. You're strong. You're willing to jump on here and share. That's big. That is so big. And I would, you know what? I actually had this conversation with 3 other moms yesterday. They're going to turn around and thank you one day. Thank you for showing up and being that strong person that you are.
100%.
Okay, if you have a strong enough why, you can withstand any how. Your how will just show up. I promise you. I mean, you could hear the passion in Sarah's voice, right?
It's like that saying, like where there's a will, there's a way. Like
Yeah.
if you want it bad enough, you're gonna figure out how to make it happen. If you need business, you're gonna do enough open houses till you meet enough people till someone's gonna want to buy a home. If you need to sell a house, you're gonna call enough people, you're gonna door knock enough doors, you're gonna host enough open houses and ask, do you need to sell in order to purchase? You're gonna do what you need to do to get that next listing so you hit your goal. And if it doesn't matter, if the goal doesn't matter, that just means that your why isn't big enough.
Not
You
big
didn't
enough.
have
It is.
the reason behind it wasn't strong enough for you to be willing to do what you needed to do. One saying that I always say is my goal was bigger than any excuse that I could come up with. When I door knocked in the rain, you guys. I also was like, they're gonna feel sorry for me and they're gonna open their door because I'm like a 5 foot tall girl in the rain outside. Like, you should take pity on me and open your door. But like, I was willing to do what I needed to do. And so my excuses didn't matter because why I was doing it was bigger. And at that point in my life, guys, my why was to get away from my husband. I was in a really unhealthy marriage and I had to find a way out. And so I did everything. I door knocked every door. I literally was like, that next door is going to get me out of my situation. That next door, that next call, so it was like my why was so big because I didn't want to stay where I was at in my life. Sometimes it's positive and we're doing it to show people we love them. And sometimes it's to get out of a situation you're in. It doesn't matter. Your why is valid. Whatever the reason is for you is valid.
I need to read this, Rachel. Edgar,
Yeah.
you're amazing, and I absolutely love you. Edgar's 20 years old. He shows up in the office every single day, and he's working with a few buyers and sellers right now. He just got his license not even 90 days ago, right? And he just wrote this. As a 20-year-old son, I can say with confidence, I may cry, gosh darn it, that we notice our parents struggles to give us the best life possible. That is so beautiful, Edgar. I'm so proud of you.
That would make your parents feel really good too.
Yeah, you need to write a note to your mama. Please. Yes, 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 please do. All right. Okay. I need
So
to.
as you reflect, guys, we want you to write down your big why, the driving force behind your goals. And if you're not hitting your goals, it just means you haven't dug deep enough to figure
Not
out
big
why
enough.
you're actually doing them.
And if you are struggling with this, we're going to offer some time with me.
Yeah.
Christy, you and I, we need to sit down and do this then. This is like an exercise you and I should do. And we can sit down and talk about it and really, really dig deep on your big why. Just let me know. Okay, secrets of a millionaire mindset. This is, we're just going to whip right. Okay, you got it. I will. A positive thought leads to confidence, which drives motivated actions and successful outcomes. Okay. I'm going to be posting a video of our team meeting yesterday with the panel. They all talked about being in the right circle. They all talked about the desire starts way deep inside. It's not something you could say, oh, wake up one day and I have this burning sensation of being the best version of me. No, it's got to be a desire so big. It's just like we're talking about the why, but it starts there. The desire fuels greatness. Okay. You have to seek greatness around you. You want to find a great mentor. You want to find a great book. You want to find the best podcast.
The best coach.
The best coach. Yes, exactly. But you want to make sure you're surrounding yourself with those people. You have to. If not, you're not going to be the next millionaire. You want to make sure those 5 people are pushing you to be the greatest version of you that you can be, right? You want to be so unforgettable that you exceed everybody's expectations of you. You want to raise that bar consistently, right? And you want to make sure if you're great and you're exuding all this desire, you're going to be like a magnet to all the others too, right? So if you lift yourself up, they're going to lift up as well. And it was proven yesterday because when people walked out of that meeting, everybody was energized. I received, I think it was 17 texts before I even went to lunch about the positivity, the
energy.
yes, the energy. It was amazing. And each one of those people that were up there talked about surrounding themselves with the right people.
And you might feel like, I'm so far behind because I felt that way. I'm so far behind. They're so much more successful for me. You're watching a panel, you're like, they're so good at this. But you have to remember that we all have the same amount of hours in the day. But
And they
how are
all
you
started out just like
Yeah.
we all got our license when we were new.
It's how are you choosing to use your time?
Yes.
Are you time blocking? Are you doing the things you need to do? Are you doing the most important things first? Are you keeping a positive mindset? Are you having conversations with people that are motivated, positive, doing the right things? Like I can't have people in my life anymore that aren't driven to their goals like I am. I can't keep them on my real estate team either. Like I have to release them to find another opportunity if they're not a fit for our team because they're going to bring the energy down. And I'm super intentional about the energy we have in our world,
Well, if you think about it, what does Gary say, right? Fire fast and hire slow. So if
Yeah.
so it's the same thing. If there's people around you, get them out, man. Just
Yeah.
get them out. Okay,
100%.
TFAR, thoughts, feelings, actions, and results. What I want you to do is start taking note of the thoughts that you are thinking when anything is happening in your world that you want to celebrate. I want you to be thinking what happened when, yes, thank you so much for typing that in. Did I say that too fast? I'm sorry.
You're good, girl.
Okay, good. Okay, so take note of it. Is it a recurring challenge? Is it a recurring thought? Recognize what you are feeling. Celebrate the wins, because that's going to be the game changer. If you celebrate the wins and you know what you're feeling, that's going to be the momentum to push you to the next day that you are feeling kind of icky, right?
Can you give like a specific real life real estate example to this?
Yes, I can. Okay. So there's an individual that I was coaching, right, who was really, really struggling, and to the point where just crying a lot, right, and maybe tapping out. So, and then lo and behold, guess what? She did an open house. She got a buyer, and I'm like, okay, stop. I want you to tell me exactly what you're feeling right now. Write it down. Get your journal and write it down, because that's what's going to energize you to take you to the next level. I want you to remember these feelings, right? That's going to help you with the next action to see the next result. And it works. It's an activity that you have to feel comfortable with. It's an activity that you have to keep doing. And it's important for it to show up over and over and over. And it works.
Yeah, and I think like, again, every time something happens to you, you have a choice how you respond. So something happens that derails your situation. Like say that you didn't get your offer accepted for your buyer and you're so excited. Or for me, I just interviewed for a listing and we were so far off on price that they're like, I don't think we can go with you. Now, I'm not just trying to put a sign in the yard. I actually want to sell it. And I could say what some other agents in my market say of like, I'll list wherever you want. And then they have a plan to just drop the price. I don't do that. I don't do that because I don't like to overpromise then underdeliver, and that's what that is to me. So when I got the information, I was like, oh, that freaking sucks. How can I? And then I was like, let myself feel like that's such a bummer. But then I thought, like, I really want to sell their house for them. And I don't think they understand what happens when you overprice a home. Even though I told them in the listing appointment, I'm like, maybe it didn't sink in. So first I was like, that really sucks. Then I started to feel like, well, I wonder what they're thinking right now. I wonder how they're feeling. So then I'm like, what can I do about this? So I sent him an email and I just walked through the market and talked about what happens if you overprice it and they're going to sit on the market and be a desperate seller. And then no one's going to look at their property or they're going to get low balls. So my action was to write him an email and really explain where I was coming from. And then he was like, give me some time to think about it and we'll get back to you. So like that for me, I went through the whole TFAR example. I thought about it. I felt it. I'm like, what can I do about it? And then I made a result. So like every time a situation comes towards you, you have the opportunity to go through this framework.
That was good.
Real life.
Real life,
So,
real life.
you can actually think about a difficult situation you have happening in your world, or the next time something happens, it kind of throws you off and you're like, all right, what are my thoughts around this? Because I think it's actually really powerful to break it down like this. What are my thoughts around it? How do I feel about what I'm thinking about? All right, what can I actually do about it? All right, what's the result going to be? So this is actually a really powerful thing to break down.
It's like a ripple effect if you keep doing it, right? And it's going to help you, because a positive thought it leads to more confidence in what you're doing and what you're trying to overcome.
100%. All right, Michelle, we've got a couple opportunities for you guys that are free. So we're going to share them with you in a second. But Michelle, why don't you share our key takeaway with them from today?
Well, we should actually ask them what their key takeaway is.
We have one on the screen that we're going to read and then they can share their takeaway.
Oh, well, okay. Let me look at it then. Recap, right? So you can achieve anything you want in life. The only one stopping it is you. So do you ever feel when you are doing something and you look at it and say, gosh darn it, it's me. I'm standing in my own way. You need to stop standing in your own way so you could achieve greatness. So you can be that unforgettable person that you want to be.
So it's like, did you sell as many houses as you planned on in 2024? No. Whose fault is that? It's your fault. There might have been outside circumstances. There might have been outside circumstances that came into play that helped, contribute to you not achieving it. But at the end of the day, it's your business. No one is running. I don't care if you're on a team or you're on your own. It's your business and you're in control of it. So are you showing up as the person you need to show up to have the business that you want to have in your life? Are you showing up as you want to show up to have the relationship you want to have the health you want to have? You're the only person who can make the changes in this.
The desire is the starting point. Do you have the desire to be that person?
Yep. Okay, so if you are struggling with your big why or struggling with really figuring out like what your business is going to look like, we have an opportunity with Michele. And Michele, since we don't have the link, can you just pop your link in the chat for everybody? So Michele has an opportunity where she is doing free one-on-one coaching calls with every person who is on this call. Anybody who's interested in doing a one-on-one with her, it's completely free. And you can talk about your big why. You can dig into your real estate goals, like whatever you're looking at. She's going to go ahead and put her.
Yeah, I'll do that. I thought I sent it last night. Okay, let me do it again.
You
Hold
did,
on.
just look in our text message and you
Yep,
can.
I'm doing it right now,
Cool.
and I'll put it in the chat. You can go to the next one, but you guys definitely sign up and we can figure this out together. And this is what I do best.
Yeah, so you'll do a one-on-one call with her. It's going to be specifically focused on you, so it's not a group call. And then one thing that I'm doing right now, I don't know if you guys have seen it, that I'm offering, is a lot of people are like, man, I want to do social media, but I just feel like I don't know what I'm saying. And when I do post, I don't get the results that I'm looking for. So what I do is I'm doing a one-on-one call with you where we sit down, and this is not a coaching call. This is a social media audit and then a content creation call. So what we're going to do is we're going to audit your social media. I'm going to help you redo your bio so that you optimize it for the algorithm so that you get the exact clients coming to your feed that you want to have be your next referral partner. So we're going to attract agents from around the country. We're also attracting your clients in your community. And what we're going to do then is I go through with you your 5 pillars of content that makes you unique. And I actually create 50 pieces of content for you for your social media that, like, I just did a call yesterday. She's like, how did you freaking do that? I feel like this is my voice. And now I get to be so excited. And the interaction, like, I give you the hooks, I give you the exact things that's going to make people respond to your social media. I give you the suggested photos you're going to upload with it. Like, this is totally custom for you guys. Michelle, I think she has 5 slots for her coaching. So first come, first serve. So make sure you fill that out. She might open it up to 10 if we have way too many than she expected. But for me, I've got 10 more spots for my content for this month, and then I'm going to cap it. So if you're wanting 2025 to be the year of referrals and really figure out social media, this is a really good one for you. And then if you're struggling and you want help with your reels, I do reels every single week for realtors. And it's unbelievably helpful. I create the content, I edit it for you, I write your hook, I do your caption, your trending audio, the entire thing. So this is really helpful. And if this is really, if you're struggling with engagement on your social and you want your views and your followers to go up, we have people whose engagement's up like 400%. Like, this one is really, really good. And then the last thing is I have a mastermind group, which Michelle is a part of and comes in quite regularly. It's $29 a month, every single month. If you liked our energy, it's $29 a month. And we've got tons of guest speakers coming in. Everything from like how to master your listing presentation to, I did an Instagram post and I didn't gain any traction. I'm hiring my first admin. I want to break into the luxury market. So that one's $29 a month. I can put my content one in the link for you. And then I'll put the weekly reels and the RCC. As you can tell, I just did those in 2 seconds because those are templates that I have in my phone, and I like systems and I'm a systems girl. All right. Do we have any takeaways? Anything anybody wants to share? Any questions? Thank you all so, so much for being patient
Thank you
with
for
us.
being so patient with it.
The
That's
technology issue. I'm grateful we were all still able to make this happen, and we will send this recording out to anyone who wants to watch it again.
Anybody want to chime in and share their biggest takeaway? How they're feeling?
I will really quick.
Thank you, Norma.
So I'll just let you know, I guess everybody who was on the call, it's pretty neat because you never know when you're showing up what you're gonna get out of it. And that's just the beauty of it. Like, it could just be a Zoom for you, but it's just something just clicks. And so it's kind of neat because it's just important just to show up for all things when you get opportunities, because it could just be that one thing and like, now I got a workout plan I'm gonna start going after. So yeah,
Totally.
it's just pretty neat. Like, you never know. Like, I've been thinking about, okay, yeah, I want to consistently work out. Started to, then got sick in December. And now it's just this that's just kind of going to get me back on track. So thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for joining us.
I think the cool thing, and I was told this like pretty early on and I realized it, is like, people are always like, how do you get so many opportunities to like speak in offices and travel and do the things? And I'm like, because I show up. I show up in the rooms. I put myself in front of people. Every one of you that's here today, the opportunities are going to come to you because you chose to show up for yourself and you showed up for your business. And I think that's a really big indicator of what the next step is going to be for you.
Just remember, show up big for you first. Show up big for you first. Anybody else want to chime in? Let's share. Give me just a moment. Give me just a moment. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, we have one more person who's brave enough to share their their takeaway from today, and then we will call it.
And okay, here we go. Edgar. Okay. Thank you. I connected. Okay. The power of one more, a lot. Yes.
Yeah,
Or
really
one
good.
more. We did that in the office. That was awesome. All right, you guys, one more person, and we're gonna have to call somebody out. And it's probably gonna, oh, that's so funny.
I don't mind sharing.
Okay, hey,
Go for it,
Jenny, how
Jenny.
are you?
Good,
Thank
how are
you so
you?
much. Good, thank you.
I really got out of this the reminder about, you know, it's okay to let people that are not positive in your life, to let them go or hold them at a strong boundary.
Mhm.
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 So I think
Thank you
that's
so much for
important.
sharing.
Uh-huh.
Jenny, I
Thanks.
appreciate it. We'll see you next week. I think Lockford, yeah, next week.
Yes, Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yes, busy, busy.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody, for your time today. We super appreciate you. Again, thank you so much for working with us with the technology issue. We will have this out to you as well as all of the links promised. Have a wonderful rest of your day and make 2025 great.
We'll see you soon.
Thanks, guys.